Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to EFA43 on this Sunday, Mother's Day, Sunday, May 10th. Look at this day, like absolutely beautiful day, rightfully so. Rightfully so, thankfully that it stays beautiful all day, but it's a deserving to Mother's Day. I've told you before, I'm a mama's boy, big mama's boy, and raised with strong sisters, strong women in my life, strong influence in my life, hence probably why I was always attracted to strong women. And I look at my wife, amazing strong woman, career woman, mother, fit person, a guru, like dog walker, gardener, community involvement, church involvement. I can keep going on. It doesn't stop. Raising my daughters with the most of structure, which children need structure, and those that don't give that structure, upbringing, surrounding foundation, create a lot of cracks in the pillars of the foundation of their upbringing of their children. And I look at my mother, who not only raised us, but she raised other children, other families' children. And like, there's times in my household, it was just amazing how many, like, if I look at that woman who never stopped and right to the end, right, ALS took her, and I talked about this, her last basically 7 years on earth was the demon of ALS. And right up until that point, I still remember I was a young man, or I started working in the prison system. I was 23-ish years old, 24. And I was moving out of the house, and then just at that time, around 23, my old Mustang. I still remember my old Mustang was stuck in front of the house in Overbrook, and here in Ottawa. And my mother at that time, I can't remember how old she was, but I was around 23-year-old man, and I felt this push. I was stuck in the snow, 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I felt this push. My car started moving. It was my mother. Here's my mother came outside at 3:30 in the morning. It's like, Mom, go to bed. But no, she's a tiny little powerhouse of a woman came out there and pushed me out. Get in the car, right? And she don't want you to be late. Like a mother till the end. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why. When I look at that woman right up until the end, even with her walker before the wheelchair, before the permanent life support, before the permanent bed, etc. With ALS, she would still be nonstop. And I look at my wife today and her role model, her mother, right? I look at that woman, 80 years old, still doesn't stop, right? Fortunately, my wife still has her mother. And I look back, I lost both my parents before I was 40. My daughters never got to know my mother. She was an amazing grandmother. An amazing grandmother. My sister could attest to that, right? But I look back and like that stayed here, and why I advocate or push or talk about strong women and strong role leaders. And quick story here is a gentleman I was at a boardroom meeting in my office one day. His name is Leo, big boy, a great heart. And I always tell people, I tell my business partner, I have my mother's heart, I have my father's mind, right? That's what I have, my mother's heart, my father's mind. And then when that conversation that day, the first time that I met Leo, a bunch of men around the table, we're talking, got to know him just quickly previously, but got to sit down with him. And he defended women that day, not defended for any reason, but he spoke highly of women and defended their nature. And he defended women in the sense of a lot of values of women and the strength of women and how women could outdo men and that kind of stuff. And I wholeheartedly agree what he was saying that day. And I can tell you, like the women in my life, a lot of men couldn't even pass the start line what they've done already, right? Amazing women. And Leo, when he was talking that day, and I remember, I listen to everything, I see everything, I process all the time, a million miles an hour, everything in fragments. And listening to him talk, I said to myself, that man has had strong women role model in his life. He's had strong women support in his life. He's had strong influence by women in his life. He probably has a very loving wife, a loving mother, everything. And I did not know him that well at that time. Right. And I got to know him, obviously, but I'm looking back, and to me, that says a lot to me. And that's what I associate with. I associate with good fathers. I associate with good fathers, and I say that to people. I don't want to be around no good fathers, right? I don't want to be around no good parent. I don't want to be around no good mother, right? And there's people out there, your Facebook dads, your Facebook moms, and etc. And they look good, the sparkles, the sprinkles, and bada boom, bada bing, right? And like I tell my wife sometimes, even our daughters, like we'll get mad at them, and we'll have our conversations like every other normal upbringing family, and we go through all these things. And I tell my wife, like, that's parenting. That's what we're doing. We're parenting. the frontal lobe is developing, right? I was a rebel. Like I was a rebel, and I look at my mother, what she went through with me. Sweet Lord Jesus, like that poor woman, what I put her through, and I think back to that. And again, I bring Surrounding Foundation, and I had all that, but I still had a lot of toxic influence. We just call it toxic influence, being raised in a hood, and a lot of the stuff that I did. And when I think about when I was a kid, I look back and all the stuff I put my mother through, right? And I made her cry. I made that woman cry many, many times, right? When I was young, but I loved her every day. I hugged her every day. She loved me every day. She tucked me in. She tucked me in, and I still do that to my daughter. I call it the fajita wraps, right? I still tuck them in and say I love her and that kind of stuff. And that was my mom right to the end. My father had a call it PTSD, call it shell shock, call it whatever. He had that inability to show affection. Inability to show affection because serving 5 years at war, I could tell the upbringing, that kind of stuff that he had. He had a different upbringing than I. And my mother was very loving, and I still to this day I carried that forward. I carried that emotion, that love, my mother's heart. I carried that forward with my father's mind, and I give this to my daughter every day. Right? Every day, I tell him I love him. I tell them I love them. Can we start over? Do I get mad at them? Do I raise my voice and they do the same to me? Absolutely, right? But every day I try to have that moment. I love you moments. Can we start over moment, right? If there's any fractures, anything. And I took that from my mother, right? Because she would start over. She would start over with me, and yeah, she would just start over. She would hold grudges and that kind of stuff. And I'm talking about progressions of life, right? Progression of life. I've lost both my parents before I was 40. I've mentioned this before. And I look at these role models, these strong women role models that the involved in the communities, the career women, the leaders, look at the politicians, right? These women are mothers too. Right? Think about that. And a lot of them, the fathers are fathers, and I'm a hands-on father, and I only hang around with great fathers. And I've talked about this before. I only hang around with great fathers, those that provide, not the Facebook dads, and not the Facebook parents or the Facebook anything, not the sprinkle stardust individuals that show up and leave the table to be taken care of by somebody else, right? And there's a lot of those kind of parents out there. And that's why when I look at women, and I look at mothers and Mother's Day in general, the ingredient, the fabric of mothers in our cultures, in our societies, in our villages, and I've said this before in previous EFAs, those societies with strong women that are able to be strong, and there's a lot of cultures out there. That's why I'm attracted to certain cultures that have strong women in their culture, strong matriarch women in their culture, respect of their mothers, respect of their sisters, respect of their women leaders, respect. That's big difference, absolute big difference. And those societies, those women that grow out of that, the nurturing of a society with strong role model women leaders and strong mothers that teach, right, that teach the values that they were passed on to, right? When I look at that, it's such an important day. Your Christmas days, your New Year's days, everything has a value, right? Your Easters, everything has a value. And Mother's Day is equal across that. When you look at mothers, when you look at your what you have, a lot of, and there's people out there that didn't have great mothers, and I'm sorry. And I am, like, I'm sorry to those that did not have great mothers. But hopefully you had great mother role models in your life, because they're out there. I know a lot of them. There are women that do not have children, and they are mothers in their way. They mother a lot of individuals in their way through life, right? Whether it's mentoring, whether it's communication, whether it's financial, whether it's anything, whether it's hands-on, being available day in, day out for somebody. They're mothering someone, they're helping them prosper through life. That's what mothers do, right? They are the grain, the fabric, the integrity of the family, the interconnectivity. When my mother passed away, I saw the change in the fabric of the family, and I predicted it because it's normal, right? That's what happened. And the father, I was like, my father had a different relationship. I have a different relationship with my daughter than my father had with me because of my mother's heart, if that makes sense. So today, I just want to wish every single mothers out there, all of you, Remind me of my mother, and wishing each and every one of you a most beautiful Mother's Day, most memorable day. This is your day, right? And I know those men in your life, the ones that the men that love and respect, the women role models that they have in their life, they will take care of you, and they will take care of you right to the end. Happy Mother's Day to all you beautiful souls.